All right. And now we're gonna find Matt. Oh, first we'll admit Linda. And then we're gonna go find Matt. Allow to record local files. Give it a shot, Matt. See if it works now.
Yep, thank you. I figure just in case, Bob, it never hurts to have a backup.
Well, especially after that last time. Matt, before we get going, do we have minutes to approve tonight?
No, actually, I am almost done them though.
Okay. So not November 17th and not December 1st?
Well, you mean the November ones I had already sent out, so you guys should have had those. So if you want to approve
Yeah, we
those,
can improve those.
go for it. The December ones, I'm almost finished.
Well, there was no December 15th, so
The December 1st,
yeah.
I'm
Okay,
finishing those up.
all right. It's 7:01. I'm going to call this meeting of the Conservation Commission to order. I'm Bob Pease. I'm the chair. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being audio video recorded. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at the meeting and those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. This meeting of the Conservation Commission is being held by Zoom. The Zoom ID is 792-737-0353. Please address all comments to the chair. First order of business, a roll call. Rich Birch,
Present.
Jeff Viviano,
Present.
Patty Adams. Come on, I just saw her.
Here.
Thank you, Patty.
froze
Katie
up.
Childs,
Here.
Mike LaRouche. Is Michael here?
He's having issues with service.
Okay. Well, let me see if he's waiting. Oh, I gotta look at my participant list. I got 2 people joining, but Mike wasn't one of them. All right, Mike LaRouche is not here at the moment. Jack Rabbit.
Present, here.
All righty then. First is public comment. Any comment from members of the commission? Any comment from members of the public? Okay. First order thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of November 17th.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded, roll call vote. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Abstain, Bob. I haven't seen him. I didn't see him.
and I for myself. Then the next thing on the agenda is a request for a field change at 475 Leominster Shirley Road, formerly known as 535 Reservoir Road, DEP number 208-1238. Is someone here for that, Matt?
Don't see anyone. I know, Up there he
Good,
is.
sir. You
Chris
got Chris
Anderson.
Hansen.
Chris Anderson, are you here for that, Chris?
Yes, sir.
How would you like to share your screen and tell us what this is all about?
Absolutely. Just give me one moment. So can you please see my screen?
I'm looking at your, yep,
Great. Just for the record, Chris Anderson with Hannigan Engineering here on behalf of JMC TBG Lunenburg LLC for a minor modification / field change for 475 Leominster Shirley Road. This project was back before the commission back in September. At that point, an order of conditions was issued for the construction of a 372,000 square foot warehouse distribution center. At that time, we were still working through the planning board process in order to get site plan approval as well as the stormwater management permit. During that process, the planning board requested a peer review of the traffic study and traffic management system that we're proposing on for the project. During that process, several modifications were made to Leominster Shirley Road in order to facilitate a much more safer and additional amenities for traffic management within this area, which is primary where all the work was modified as part of that approval process. So originally, the commission approved a 10-foot expansion of Leominster Shirley Road in order to facilitate an additional turning lane into the property, as well as some traffic markings and utility work as well. Since that time, through peer review with traffic development, additional amenities were provided, which resulted in a net increase of more pavement within Leominster Shirley Road. For the purposes of the design, we've honored the original pavement line to the south of the site, where it's right against the wetland area. It essentially expanded towards the north into the property itself by about an additional 5 feet in order to facilitate a bike lane and some other amenities, as well as modifying the curb radii for truck traffic and additional turning maneuvers into the property as well and out of it as the same. Besides that, the stormwater management system has remained essentially the same. No modifications were truly made for that. And the modification was purely for the additional pavement within Leominster Shirley Road. Pretty much the gist of the modifications. If there's any questions from the commission, I'll be more than happy to answer them.
do we have any comments or questions from members of the commission? If there are no, are there any comments or questions from members of the public? If there are no comments or questions from anyone, I'd be looking for a motion to approve these changes to the roadway as a field change.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Roll call vote. Rich Birsch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patricia Adams,
aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Michael LaRouche, who had joined us about 3 minutes ago,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you very much.
On to our first public hearing. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Paul Goslin for the relocation of an existing drain line at 21 Brookview Terrace. Is someone here representing Mr. Goslin? I see someone. Paul, unmute yourself.
All right, how's that?
I can hear you now.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So we're in Chuck's office. We were gonna use his computer and then realized he doesn't have any of the technology for that, so we're doing the best with the cell phone right now to have the meeting, so.
Okay, and so, if he has a computer with an internet connection, he has everything he needs, but, because it'll automatically install Zoom, but we can go this way.
Okay,
Let me, share my screen. First of all, let me find your, materials. Meeting docs. And this is 21 Brook. Anybody see 21 Brookview on there?
No.
I did. Hold on a second, Bob. It
I
was
know I looked at it before, in the last on the December 15th meeting.
Yeah, it's right there in January 5th,
Yeah,
like the second one down, 21 Brookview. I've got it open.
that was.
Yeah, I'm
Are you
seeing it on mine.
Huh,
On my list, it's like fourth from the bottom.
well, let me try sorting them. When I sort it, on mine, it's still back in the December 15th meeting. For some reason.
2, 4,
Um,
6. It's about 7 down, Bob, from the current one. It did move. It was earlier was like towards the very top. Now it's about the 7th down.
well, I found it, for some reason on my computer, I found it in the December 15th folder.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It is weird. So, but anyway, I think I've called it up. So let me share the screen and see if Paul can confirm this is what we should be looking at. So let's go over here to Zoom. Let's share my screen. Here we go.
yes, that's it.
All right. So let me go down a little bit so we can see more of the site. Can people see that, or should I enlarge it in pan?
I can see it.
Okay. So tell us about this, Paul.
So my wife and I bought the property 4 years ago, been living in the house 3 years now. And when we bought it, we knew of this piping that went through, but nobody knew any history of it. And so in the driveway, you can see where it says 1-story dwelling. If you're looking at the picture slightly to the right, there's like a grate there. That's an open grate that collects the water from the driveway, but it starts from the back of the property, enters the pipe, goes underground, and it continues right through that grate out to the city catch basin. And that was there when we bought it. I went to Jack Rodriguez when he was there 4 times trying to find out any history of this pipe, because it seems that there's an easement that the town has for the pipe across the street that goes into the lake, but there was no history that we know of. So anyway, that tells you a little bit about the history of it. And so my wife and I wanted to put on a deck because the other one was destroyed or fallen apart. And I don't want an open grate in my driveway, and for environmental reasons, I don't want anything, taking a chance of anything breaking down in my yard and then getting out to the lake. So it's already decayed and falling apart in a few areas. And so I had Chuck from Cabco do this drawing, and we're proposing that a 12-inch pipe be put in rather than the 6-inch that's there now, to collect this water. And it's going to be totally underground. The water enters my property from a butter's properties, as you can see in the back corner. It's right on the edge of my property, and it enters into my property, goes underground and out to the catch basin for the town, and then out to the lake. So for one, it's destroyed in a lot of places, so we want to repair it, but we're bringing it out just further because of the proposed deck that's going there. I don't want any future issues connected to the house with the piping, so I don't want the pipe to go through the footings for the deck. So that's why we're proposing it to go out further, but there's no change in the inlet or the outlet. I mean, we're going to reconstruct the inlet, but the outlet is staying the same, other than they'll have to attach the 12-inch pipe to where the 6-inch pipe is. So that's probably it is a modification for sure, but the locations, in other words, are not changing.
Any comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry about that.
Jack Rabbit.
Thank you. Hey, first of all, Paul, apologies. I didn't recognize you with your mask on.
Thanks. Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, yes, myself, I believe Mike and Matt went out, or is it Matt, just you and I? I'm not sure.
No, Mike.
No, I was there.
You were
Mike was there.
Yeah, I didn't take any pictures of you. That's all, Mike. That's why I wasn't sure. You're the first guy in the picture. Yeah, I didn't have any problems. It was looking like the pipe was starting to collapse. What he's proposing, Paul is proposing, is very sound. The only thing of note is that there are a number of stumps within the 100-foot. And Paul, I think you were talking about removing them. Was that?
Yeah, because we want to. I guess the change in the plan that Chuck did, we did a very narrow wattle area, I guess, for retaining it, and that whole backyard is just all over the place, because all they did was put a house there, and they left all these stumps all over the property. When I got there, there was 18 stumps that were there, and then we took 25 trees that were on top of the house, and so all those stumps are there. So there's like 40 or 50 stumps that just need to be taken out so that we can create a nice lawn in the back. And so in that area that we're proposing, there are some rather large trees that were there that I want to remove those stumps along with that, so that new lawn can be put in after all this work's done.
And I believe they would have to petition us, Bob, if they're going to be digging up anything within 100 feet.
Yeah, if he's got, so Paul, are you planning to take out stumps that are within 100 feet of within, you can see your 100-foot buffer
Right.
line on your map there.
Yeah. There's probably 4 stumps in that area. Maybe 1 or 2 are actually where this proposed line is going,
Right.
which would be removed just for the line itself.
So I just want to note that these trees did look like they'd been down for a while before Paul had moved in. Clearly, we might have had should have had some sort of involvement, but yeah, I would totally support Bob allowing him to put that pipe in and removing the stumps. They're not serving any real purpose. They're not within 30 feet.
You should note the majority of the stumps actually are out of the buffer zone.
Yeah. He's got
Right.
4 of them or so, I think.
Anything else, Jack?
No, that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Any comments or questions from members of the public? This is a notice of intent. Do we have a DEP number, Matt?
Yeah, I'm gonna take a look for that right now. I believe you do. Hold on one sec.
Well, that would be wonderful
Yeah, we'll get this one. Hey,
and
Mike,
amazing.
yeah, Mike, apologies. I see your cute little red car sitting in the background. On the street.
I wish.
Uh,
Yeah, actually, I don't see one right at the moment.
So Paul, unfortunately, without a DEP number,
Yep.
we really should wait to see if the DEP has any comments on it before approving it.
Mhm.
I always advise people that usually the holdup is the internal to the DEP. Your checks are sent to one place, and the place they're sent has to notify the people doing the reviewing that you paid before they'll issue a DEP number, and that takes a long time.
Okay.
And so I would suggest that you reach out to Matt, and Matt can tell you how to send a copy of your canceled check, which you can get from your bank to
Okay.
the right person at the DEP, so they can move this process along, and we can, do this at our next meeting.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Matt, did I say that right?
Yeah, that was perfect, Bob. DEP's been shorthanded. I know they just hired one person just recently that's gonna be starting at the end of the month, so hopefully they can catch up on some of the stuff.
Yeah, so Paul, with your permission, we're gonna continue this until our next meeting, which I believe is January 19th.
January 19th. Okay.
Yep.
Now, it would work, is it fine just for myself just to be on there? Chuck doesn't have to be in on this because there was no questions about the plan or anything like that. It's
No.
really,
I think I can't guarantee what'll happen at the next meeting, but I mean,
Okay.
there were no questions at this meeting. And we're all here. All commissioners are present. So I
Right.
can't conceive of why any questions would come up at the next meeting.
okay, okay.
I thought the plans were pretty clear myself. Chuck, I thought you did a nice job.
And you're putting a bigger pipe in, so how can we lose?
Yeah, and by the way, I also visited the site and spoke with Paul when I was out for a walk with my wife. So,
Oh, nice.
all right, so I'm looking for a motion to continue until
Mr. Chair.
the 19th.
Mr. Chair, I did have a quick question.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, we have questions. Richard,
Yeah, sorry about that. I noticed in the development plan, we've got a big area off to the right where the erosion control really kicks out. Oh, it looks like maybe 40 or 50 feet from the pipe. Why are we that far away and taking all the trees out that they have marked on the pre-development plan? And do we have any plan to replace those?
There's
No, there's-
no trees going
There
out.
shouldn't be any trees going out. It's basically to fill to contour number 375. And where the trees are, it's maybe a few inches of soil. So the trees aren't really going to be disturbed by that. But that's the reason why the erosion control barrier is extended out beyond the contour, 375 contour.
Okay, so all of these hemlocks that you have marked between the pipe and the 375 contour are gonna stay?
Yes,
Yes.
All these little 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-inch hemlocks? Okay.
Yeah.
They're just
yeah.
not shown on the development plan. That's why I was a little confused.
anything else, Rich?
Nope, that was it. Thank you.
All right, so now I'm looking for a motion. Any other comments before? I'm looking for a motion to continue until the 19th.
So moved.
Second,
All right, roll call vote. Rich Birsch,
All right.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams.
Aye.
Katie Childs.
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you, Paul. See you in 2 weeks.
All
But
right.
I would urge you to reach out to the DEP to see if you can't send them your check so you can maybe facilitate getting a DEP number.
So I'm gonna show them the cancel check. Is that what we're saying?
Give Matt a call or send him an email and he'll explain it to you.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yep. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Grace Oliver for the upgrading of a septic system at 19 Crescent Terrace. Someone here for Grace Oliver? Can you raise your hand or,
I am here, Bob. Steve?
oh, Steve Marsden.
Yes.
All right. So first of all, let's stop sharing the screen. Steve, are you interested in sharing your screen so you can tell us what's, or do you want me to do it?
If you could, that'd be good.
Okay, that wasn't the answer I was hoping for, but I got it.
All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. All right, so first of all, let's close this last thing. And now let's this is 19. Oh, I love it when I look on the thing that's right there. So I'm assuming
Don't assume, Bob.
I know what happens. All right, so let's share the screen. And let's rotate this plan. Well, maybe it's right side up.
Yeah.
Let's
That's fine. I
pull
can
it up
explain it that way.
75%. Let's see. Is this the right part of the plan?
Absolutely, that's fine.
All right, take it away.
Basically, what we've got is this is one of the last houses on Crescent Terrace to be improved from the old camps where we had the 55-gallon drum for a septic system. So this is an existing 2-bedroom house and it will remain a 2-bedroom house. Grace is in the process of redoing the structure, but given the size of the lot and everything, we're going to remain at 2-bedroom, and she's not touching the structure itself, just going to do the improvements inside. And so we're going to do a leach field as shown on the street side away from the lake. And we've got the offset to the lake is 92 to the lake proper. And then there's a wetlands on the other side of Crescent Terrace and New West Townsend Road. So 96 feet from that wetlands that runs along where the old town dump was on that side. So we're kind of stuck it right there in the middle. It'll be in compliance. I already have been with the Board of Health and they have approved a permit pending the conservation approval. There's an existing well you'll see that's right next to the garage. That well is to be abandoned completely, not preserved as for any reason. We're going to abandon it and cap it. And so we'll be tying into the town water, and the water line there is shown.
Okay. And tell us about the trees, Steve.
There's a tree right there in the corner that will have to be removed, which is just barely inside the 100-foot buffer zone. And then there'll be some other work done here, right where your pointer is. There's about 2 trees, 2 small trees that have to be removed, but the other ones we should be able to maintain.
Because I'm seeing 4 trees on the plan, or maybe 5 trees on the plan. Of these 5 trees, are they
2,
all coming down?
nope, the 2 on the left, closest to that property line in order to make the grading work on the left. So,
This one and this one are coming down,
correct.
and these three are staying.
Yes.
All right, any comments or questions from commissioners? Any comments or questions from members of the public? Do we have a DEP number, Matt?
Hold on, let me look. I believe you do on this one.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
And I hope
Yeah,
so,
you
man.
do.
I looked at, we were there.
208-1245.
And do they have any comments?
No comments.
No comments. With a DEP number, no comments or questions from commissioners, no comments or questions from members of the public. I'm looking for a motion to approve this NOI.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
We have several seconds. Roll call vote. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
See ya.
Good work.
Bye, Steve.
Right. Well, actually, I'm gonna be around, so
Okay. Bye for this one.
there we go.
The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Paul Majowski, I'm sorry if I butchered that, for work at 2 Gabe's Place for the removal of trees within the buffer zone. Is someone here for 2 Gabe's Place?
You're here.
One screen that says Fran?
Yes.
All right. So let me get rid of this. And let's close that. That's fine. 2 Gabe's Place. A butter notices plan. I'm hoping that's gonna be what we're looking at. Okay, so. Let's share that screen. And let's rotate this. And let's blow it up a little bit.
Você sabe onde é que tá, amor?
Is this what you were expecting to see?
Serei?
Yes.
So tell us about what you're doing here, please.
Excuse me there, Bob. Bob,
Yes,
before
yep,
we start,
Matt.
just to let you know, the
Yeah.
light blue line is the 100-foot buffer zone. The orange line is the 30-foot buffer zone. The yellow line is the edge of wetland.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The light blue line is the 100-foot buffer zone.
Okay,
The orange line is the 30-foot no-touch zone. The yellow line is the wetland itself.
thank you very much. That's very helpful. I'm sorry I wasn't listening the first time you said it.
What was that? No, just kidding.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, we moved here a year ago. We bought this property, and our concern is the trees around the house. They're very high, old, raw trees. So I'm concerned for myself and my family, because I noticed that a couple trees behind the house, they're falling down. So I called a couple tree experts to come down and take a look at it. I was, concerned for those trees, and we came to a conclusion to remove those trees for the safety of everyone inside the house and outside. So that's what we're here for, to see if we
And
can.
so can I ask you, these little circles on the plan, are those the trees?
Yes, they're the tree lines.
So I'm counting like 1, 2, 3, 4 along the left side as we look at it. There's one up here, there's 3 inside the 30-foot no disturb. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 over here, and then along this side, 1, 2, 3,
Yes, but
3
they're
there.
more
And
close.
and these are
Yeah.
out of our jurisdiction.
Yeah. So they're not that far away. When I draw a little farther than that. So they're a little closer to the, the tree lines, but that's it, a couple of trees, yeah.
Okay. Any comments or questions from commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Hi, this is John Rabbit, and I did have a chance to go out and the site with Mike and myself. I believe we saw about a dozen trees down. We didn't have a easily demarcated zone to confirm these numbers, these 13 or so. The trees were a distance from the house. I understand the concerns that people might have with regard to healthy trees. These are all healthy trees. And we have pictures, by the way, we've taken a pile of pictures and turned them into a write-up, a site write-up. And I don't know, I didn't see them on the file, Matt, but we do have them. So I have concerns in that regard. The other regard was I witnessed and took pictures. It appears, Paulo, have you been throwing some, leaves and branches and things like that into that wetland area?
No, I have not.
You haven't? Okay, it just happened to, okay. So anyway, it would appear that there has been some filling in that area. And so I'd be looking to not only, cause a replacement of those trees that were in the, clearly within the 30-foot. And again, all those trees appeared to be very healthy. So I'm kind of questioning that, and I'm also kind of questioning the issue of the filling. And if you'd like, I can send you over the pictures, Bob. Matt, I believe I've sent the report into you folks. And what I would ask is that we have that area cleaned up and cleaned out.
Yeah, I have been planning to do the cleaning.
Okay.
Behind the house and everything, but I'm going to do it after we get to the point of finishing this up.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's the plan to clean. Like I said, we bought the house a year ago, so we haven't time to do much. So we're doing little by little. So my biggest concern is those trees surround the house.
Sure.
For the
So-
sake of everyone. I don't want to.
I have a question. How many of these trees have already been cut down?
So we cut down probably around 10 trees, something like that.
Mr.
But
Chairman, we
it's-
counted a dozen so far, and I have the pictures of the stumps to prove. I don't know what is inside the boundaries, the 30 or 50, but appears that most of them were all within the 100 feet.
Anything else, Jack?
No, it's just that when we did made contact with, I believe you folks use the Ashby ISP company.
JSP.
ISP, would that be the company?
JSP.
JSP, yes, I'm sorry, I can't read the brochure very well. Sorry about that. Yeah, they were unaware that they needed any permits, which is kind of surprising. And because a lot of the companies have it in the agreement, if you sign an agreement with them, they have the requirement that the owner is responsible for obtaining the permits beforehand. And they were kind of thinking that you had covered all of that, or they were actually, I take that back. They were surprised that they needed permits. I'll leave it at that.
So before we started all this, I contacted the town hall to ask if I need a permit. They told me that if the trees in my property and not close to the wetland, I don't have to get a permit. So I contacted a couple times, and I couldn't try to talk to Matthew. He's the one in charge of this. I called and I spoke to secretary that I answered the phone calls, and I asked her those questions regarding those trees. And she told me that I don't need a permit if the trees in my property and it's not close to wetland. So that being said, that I didn't know that I need a permit. When I talked to Matt about this, he said, he looked at it, he's like, well, actually, you don't need a permit, but you need to get a permit now. So that's what we're here for. But I tried to get a permit, but they told me I didn't have to get one.
Okay, any other questions, Jack?
No, that's it, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Rich Birch.
Yeah, I just have the plan with the blue line and the orange line and a whole bunch of dots. Do we have any plan for tree replacement
Nope,
for the trees that were inside the 50-foot? Okay,
nope.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something.
No, you're not missing anything, Rich. I am expecting that to come up.
Okay, well, it just came up. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
And so normally, Paulo.
Excuse me, Bob,
Yes,
just to clarify, it's the regulations require tree replacement for the 30-foot.
yeah, the 30-foot. And it looks like if this plan is accurate, that there's 4 trees within the 30-foot no disturbance zone. And do we know how big they were? Are those trees already been cut down? And do we know how big they are?
They're varying sizes, Mr. Chairman. I do have pictures that we'd be able to estimate the,
Can you just tell us, Jack?
okay, they're all more than, generally a foot to a foot and a half.
Okay, thank you. And so, so normally, Paulo, if you cut trees down, and that's called the no disturbance zone. If you're within 30 feet of the wetlands, we call that the no disturbance zone. And we have a regulation that says if you cut down trees within the no disturbance zone, you have to plant replacement trees. And so I'm expecting that, someone's gonna, since we have a requirement to that, I'm expecting that one of the commissioners, one or more of the commissioners will say, we should be requiring replacement trees here. Before I go on, Matt, do we have a DEP number for this?
Hold on, let me check.
No,
Oh, we have a no. And so,
Nope.
Paulo, we're gonna have to continue this because we have no DEP number to the next meeting, just like we did the first hearing. And so I'm suggesting to you that you contact Matt Merle and develop about planting replacement trees and get suggestions from him about where trees might go. Matt, how heavily forested is this? Are replacement trees appropriate in your professional?
Well, the regulations do call for the tree replacements. It's got a very healthy canopy. It will still have a very healthy canopy. So, I mean, we'd have to really take a good look. You can't do it in the office. It would have to be done on site before we put any pen to paper. In fact, I'm recommending that, maybe, I mean, I know Jack and Mike and myself took a look at it, but I think maybe more of you guys should go out and take a look at it for reference sake. I actually remember when the subdivision was built. It's about 20 years ago. So we had the original plan on file. I looked at the wetlands. The wetlands haven't changed in shape or in size, so they're identical to what's on this plan. So that's accurately represented. Excuse me. So again, I really think that, we should have a couple more commissions go out and take a look at it for reference sake. And I don't think even pictures would be of help because of the way the canopy is on the site.
Okay, and so I probably won't participate in a site visit, but I can go out there. Paulo, if that's okay with you, I'll come some other time to take a look.
Sure.
Okay. And so, but I still, but Matt, if we take and we do a site visit, like the Saturday before our next hearing, how do we take then and come together with a plan, by the time of the next hearing, so maybe we could, be in a position to take action on this.
Well, honestly, I think we should do the site visit well before our next scheduled site inspection. We just do this one site. I don't think it's gonna take very long. When you're on site, it's actually a lot more straightforward than it would be on what you're seeing on paper.
Okay,
I think you'll see a lot of what Paul is talking about here.
well, I'm committing to go and visit it, seeing it on my own. I don't know if other people can, how do people want to do this?
I'd like to attend.
Okay,
All right, so how about I email you and Patty and we come up with some times maybe next week,
okay,
like early
Okay.
next week.
Sounds
Hey,
good.
Bob, I'd like to go as well.
All right.
but I'm just not available that Saturday before the next meeting, so
yeah.
Well, Jeff,
and-
what about during the week, next week?
Uh,
that,
I
Yeah.
can only go on a weekend.
or I could just go down and take a look with you, Bob, during the week, and then,
Yeah,
Hey, Mr. Chairman,
yep,
it might be helpful if I was allowed to distribute my site visit, that I have a pile of pictures that'll help you reference where they are.
Super.
Paulo, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, are the trees still on the ground? Because I know.
Yeah,
some of the-
everything's still there and the trees
Okay.
that they
Yeah,
still are.
you might have to dig around a little bit under some of the trees and stuff, because when they'd fallen over in some of the other stumps and such. And you might have to look through a few inches of snow too, but that's okay.
And the trees are marked, so it's be easy to see which trees
Yeah.
are coming down.
Right, now there were a couple trees that were marked that hadn't come down yet. And that would be your intent to notify us about those trees as well?
Okay.
I think those Paulo, are those trees on the plan? They're marked on the plan? And they're
Yes,
marked in the field, right?
yes.
Okay, well, then there we have it.
They got the
Mike,
big-
Bruce, you have your hand up.
They don't hear us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to know regarding the plan, the dots that are close to the 30-foot no-touch zone, they appear to be like just Sharpie marks. Are those exact positions
got
of
it.
those trees, or?
I doubt it.
Okay. So it's possible that some of those trees may be within the 30-foot no-touch zone, correct?
Yeah, I
Possibly.
suppose that, yes, they might be well within the, what do they call that in statistics? The limit of something or other,
All right.
uncertainty.
Yeah,
So there could be more trees in the no-touch zone
It is
as we look at
possible.
this plan. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Just wanted to know to
And
calculate
I
how
can
many
tell you when I
trees.
go, I'll be bringing my tape measure.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bob.
Yep,
Bob, I do have one other question.
go ahead, Jeff.
Paulo, are you planning on making this part of your yard, I guess? Are you gonna be filling it with loom and seeding and taking stumps?
Yeah, I'll be cleaning up everything and there is some grass there too. I'll be
Okay.
treating I'll be treating back there, also increasing the yard for kids can play a little bit.
Okay, so
But I'll be
do you
treating,
need
it's
to
not gonna be
change?
just leaving like that, it's gonna be treated, sprinklers, everything.
Okay, so any
Paulo,
changes in elevation? Are you gonna be pulling fill out or putting fill in, more than a foot or so, I guess?
No, so we're just gonna level it. We're
Just
just gonna
gonna
level
level
it, yeah.
Okay, so just smooth it out and loom and seed. Okay, that's it.
Paulo, I'll tell you that we probably won't allow you to pull the stumps within that we won't allow you to pull the stumps within the 30-foot no disturbance zone or put lawn within the 30-foot no disturbance zone. So,
Yeah. As
just,
long as, you let me know,
yep,
to do the right thing.
okay. Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, we might also, given the fact that, Fran and Paulo are new, we've had a tradition, it seems, that we are asking the residents to put boulders and such along that 30-foot line, such that folks, you won't mow into that territory. You won't be taking trees down. And the other people, and you might stay there 100 years, but you might move along again. And so what we're doing is we're demarcating that 30-foot line with a large boulder. And I think it might be appropriate in this particular case. And I would ask for that consideration when we do get around to voting on it.
And I'll be advocating for placards.
Okay, there you go. We'll get something up there.
Okay.
Or trees on the line.
Or trees. Yeah, more trees.
Yep. I'm looking then for a motion to continue until the 19th.
I'll move.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. So thank you very much, Paulo. People will be out to visit you probably next week sometime to take a look. And I may actually try to get out there before the snow falls, maybe covers things up. And after we've had the visit, I'm expecting Matt may reach out to you about, suggestions for tree planting and stuff like this. Okay,
Sounds good. All right, thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Continued public hearings. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Mark Brightman for work at 524 Northfield Road for the replacement of a septic system wall, the filling of a former swimming pool within the buffer zone. Do we have someone here for that? Raise your hand. You can raise your hand by going to reactions at the bottom. Or you
Don't know if
maybe-
there's anyone here, Bob. I do know I got an earlier email from Angel that she was having some internet issues as far as being able to sign onto the internet at all. So I don't know
Okay.
if she's resolved those.
Then let's you think we should continue it to later in the meeting, Matt, based on your knowledge of this, or should we just continue it right now till the 19th?
I just wait till later in the meeting, see if she resolves her issues. I haven't received any further.
Okay, so I'm
communication.
looking for a motion to continue to later in the meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call vote, Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Bill Emke for work at 445 Thompson Harbor Road for the replacement of railroad ties, steps, and a timber retaining wall within the buffer zone. Is Mr. Emke here?
Yes, he is. And
Bill, aha.
I've got I'm remote, so I've got a couple of screens going here, and I can't lift the one up so you can see my face.
That's okay.
Thanks a lot.
I remember what you look like.
Appreciate that. So yeah, I have if you want me to share my stuff here, I could do that.
Oh, why don't you go ahead and do that then?
So I just hit share screen. Is that it?
That's right.
And
then you got to choose the screen you want to share.
okay, I got to be careful.
That's true. You do.
Yeah. Okay. So this is from a continuation back in December, where I made a submission to shore up a eroding bank. And during the conversation, there were 2 points that were made from the commission. And I addressed those 2 points with this second submission here. And it's in red. By the way, everyone can see this?
Yep.
Yep.
The 2 points were the first was the pitch of the beach area behind where the wall is going up. Now, as I say, will remain the same. The initial proposal, I dropped that pitch down by about a foot, right near the wall. And I have a note here that if the Conservation Commission wants me to reduce the pitch, I could still have them do that. I just thought it would be better have it more level than have such a high pitch on it, and it might help the erosion problem. But because I know the constraints, someone mentioned constraints about the commission on that, messing with that pitch. So I'm not going to do that unless it's requested, and I'm glad to do it then. The other point was there's some discussion about after I put the retaining wall in to hold up the bank. By the way, retaining wall and a repair of an adjacent wall, which I pointed, which was made out of flat stone. I'm just going to take it out and put the concrete and stone wall in, and also replacement of some railroad ties on the other side. I'll show you that picture in a second if you don't remember it. And there was some question of whether some surface water might still develop and run over the top of that wall. And so I'm going to, and you'll see the sketch here in a minute, put a drainage area in between the sod, between the grass and the wall to collect any residual surface water. So I'm just going to zip down here. So this is just a picture of the area, so you get a feel for it. I know Jack's been there, and I think Bob and Mike or Matt. This is the section we're talking about. Here's the erosion. Here's the wall that I want to repair by simply replacing it. Here's new wall here, and here are the railroad ties. So this wall would go straight across here. And this is the same sketch before. And so here's looking down on it. Here's the lake. Here's the beach area. New wall, and this other wall I said was over here. There's another. It was at right angles. It looked like a number 7 here. That piece is taken out, and this we're still going to retain this one. But the main information here is, and I didn't have this last time, between the grass and this brick patio, I'm planning to put in a Riverstone drain pipe drainage area here to collect any surface water. And just for the sake of reference, it's this whole length of 28 feet. The depth is 1 foot, and it's a half a foot wide. And here's a cross section of it. So this is the area that's new. Here's the Riverstone. This is a perforated pipe, 6-inch perforated pipe that goes in there. And I kept this pitch the same as it is right now. So that will remain unchanged. Like I said, unless you want me to flatten that out a little bit more, I can do that. And that's it. This is the view from the lake. Actually, the only thing is there is a change here. This was 3 feet because I had this pitch knocked down. But based on the suggestions of the commission here, I just brought that up to where it is currently. So that's another change.
Any comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chairman?
Jack Rabbit.
Jeff made a great observation, Bill, with regard to the drain pipe. And essentially, I believe you were saying it might have been new or something, but is there any way you could connect your drain pipe to that pipe running along the side there where it's dropping in? And that way you won't have an overflow issue at all?
Let me see. I have, let me show you what I have with that drain pipe. I think hang on a second.
Okay.
Yeah. In anticipation, Jack. Anticipation. Did that come up?
That's why we love you. That's why.
Yes. So this is actually a sump area. This is this is about a 4, maybe 5 cubic feet sump area. And that drain comes down into this area.
Okay.
It goes underneath, and I don't know where it goes into the bricks.
So you're going to actually physically connect the drain pipe, or are you just going to?
No, it's just I'm saying that this water doesn't
won't go anywhere. Yeah.
If we have like a monsoon, perhaps this whole sump here area will fill up and it might come down to bricks here. But
Okay,
for the most part, any normal rainstorm, this takes care of that.
captured all. Won't
Yeah.
wreck your grass.
No. So that's actually been taken care of right here. Because there's 2 roof sections that come off that, and there's about maybe something like 200 square feet of roof coming off that. So I put this area in because I don't want all that water coming down here.
Good man. Thank you.
Well,
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? I have a comment. I'm not sure why you're now saying you will maintain the existing pitch unless we ask you to reduce it. To me, if you reduce the pitch, then it reduces the chance that the sand is going to wash into the lake.
absolutely. And that's why on the original submission, Bob, I had that down, I think a foot. But then during our discussion last month, it was mentioned, oh, you can't do that because it's within 30 feet. So I withdrew it. I'd gladly just knock that out while he's out there and make that still a positive pitch. Don't get me wrong, it would still be a positive pitch, but less chance of runoff. And you saw what it looks like.
Yeah, but it's sand.
It's sand, and well, it's a few inches of sand, and there's dirt, and this erosion dug down into the dirt and it's dumping it into the lake.
It's not like we're moving vegetation or changing, it's sand. So as one member of the commission, I would be in favor of reducing the pitch in the sand. But
It's
I'm
about,
only one.
I think I calculated to be, I think it was a 17 degree pitch, and that would drop it down to probably like 9 or something like that.
Any comments or questions from members of the public?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I heard Bill explaining to Jack where the water was going, but I don't quite understand. We've got this 6-inch pipe that's going to be behind the wall. Does that drain somewhere?
Well, it's a perforated pipe, so it'll drain off into the sod.
So I guess, so all it is just adding a little bit of extra area for the water to collect?
Right, it would be adding volume that it would allow it to collect, and and then go out the pores, go out into the sod in a, I'll call it controlled manner, but it's nature controlled, I guess.
Okay.
It doesn't like dump into the lake or anything like that. It's just a.
So there's no outflow to the pipe. The pipe's just in the trench, just taking up volume.
It's some. I think it's. I did make it calculate. I think it was 6 cubic feet of space down there. That if you get it, I mean, you really get a lot of water. Go down there, and go into that pipe, and then ease back into the stone and sod.
Okay. I guess.
I mean, if you're interested in some calculations, I've done some calculations on rainfall. I became an expert in rainfall, by the way, and what's going on in Middlesex County and all that. So there's plenty of it's overkill for any kind of rainstorm. Even if I took that drain that Jack pointed out and then just shoved it in this hole, so there'll be no issue with that.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Is that 28-foot pipe, does it have caps on the end? Or does it drain off of the side of the 28 feet?
That's a good, I didn't have caps on the end, but I don't know.
I'm just wondering if you really had a large rainstorm and the perforation pipe, is it going to blow out on the sides, and what's the impact of that versus if you were to,
Mike,
I mean, I'm just looking at your picture in front of me now. that's why I asked the question. Just curious where the water, the extra water might go instead of just draining into the soil.
That area, I mean, I was envisioning just filling up, put the stone, I couldn't do it on this is a cross section, the stone be over that area, not a cap. But
Okay.
the stones would be there, and I think that would, actually, I think that'd be a good stop without having it be capped, if you will.
Okay.
So there's stones under it, there's stones on the side of it, so the hole's a little bit bigger, and there's stones on either end of it.
Okay.
Anything else, Michael?
That's it.
All right, I'm gonna call on Matt Proctor.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I have a suggestion on this in regards to the drainage behind that wall. First, from a first standpoint, looking at it, a 6-inch pipe, I think is pretty massive back there. I think a 4-inch perforated pipe would probably be fine. And if anyone's seen the cost of PVC right now, I don't think overkill is necessary in my eyes. Also, underneath this cemented fieldstone wall, there'll be a crushed stone footing that'll be in the gravel bed of the lake that easily catches the lake water and the recharge and everything in the lake. So I think if that pipe was simply connected underneath the wall in the crushed stone footing, it would really help recharge the water and just get it down and away and fighting against any kind of an overflow coming over the top of that wall. Would just be my one kind of quick comment on it, seeing how it's the kind of stuff I do, right?
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Bill, if you don't know, Matt Proctor is a stonemason.
Okay, well, okay, way to go.
And does this for a living.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I see what you're saying, but there are always better ways to do everything, I guess. Especially if you're in the area. So Matt, you're saying basically put that structure that I have there as a drainage area to catch any surface water underneath the wall.
Yeah, so the footing that wall will be built on crushed stone, I'm assuming, will be the footing underneath it.
Yeah.
And that's really going to take any water down and recharge it back into the lake right away. There's never going to be any water that holds under that wall, especially with how great the gravel is around Hickory Hills. So if you connected that 6-inch pipe down into that footing and had a toe drain in the footing, doesn't have to pump, not talking about pushing it out to the lake anywhere, just into that gravel bed, into the 3/4 crushed stone that's in the gravel. I think it'll recharge right through, and that'll really fight against that stone trough ever filling and pushing over the top of the wall, causing an erosion problem on the lower side.
Well, yeah,
my take on it.
I see what you're saying, but was that
just a suggestion. I just figured I'd give my 2 cents on it.
By the way, the 6-inch, I totally agree with it, is overkill, because like I said, I looked at a lot of numbers on rain, and that's way overkill, but it solves the problem. It solves the problem that we're looking to solve, right? The problem that was brought up was, in the event surface water built up, it still could come over that wall, and it will not come over that wall with this.
So Bill, but what I hear Matt suggesting is that you take and you make some spots where the gravel, the crushed stone that's underneath the wall is continuous with the crushed stone that surrounds the pipe, so that the water can flow down through there, and recharge also at the bottom of the stone wall.
Oh, so stones all the way down, Matt, not direct pipes down there.
Yeah, you could exactly. You can do it either way. Stone all the way behind the wall, I think, is great, and then it relieves any hydraulic pressure back there, getting it out and underneath.
Yeah, that would.
Or tying it together would work as well. But yeah, it's simple enough to just fill it all the way up behind the wall with 3/4.
Right.
3/4 is as cheap as any gravel you're gonna put behind there anyway, so you might as well just get it out.
Yep.
Great.
Okay, any other comments or questions from commissioners? Any other comments or questions from members of the public? And we now have a DEP number on this. I'm looking for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Hey, Bob, just a quick question. As you mentioned, you have a DEP number. Did it just come through? Because it's not listed on the website.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either.
You're not.
No.
I thought I saw it a long time ago. I apologize if I'm mistaken.
Yeah, no, it's not listed on the website.
I apologize, my error. So Bill, unfortunately, we're gonna have to continue.
Matt, did you hear back? See, the thing is that I know I sent in this is a separate, obvious separate issue, but I'm up against this now a personal schedule here. We're getting this done over the winter time. And the money was sent in, holy cow, a long time ago.
Yeah, Bill, I double checked it. They don't have a record of your payment. I called the actual person at the D. As Bob was alluding to earlier, there's actually just one person in Boston that handles all these transactions. She doesn't have a record. So I got a hold of her actually yesterday. What I can do is I'll email you the transmittal form and just send them a new check.
Yeah, I didn't. Okay, so Matt, these checks were sent to you. Remember, I mean, I don't want to discuss. I mean, it's not sort of out of place here, but I'm up against I have a contractor who's literally waiting on his phone to take other jobs, and the issue was he wanted to do and I want to do while the ground was frozen, so he can move the machinery over my lawn. So if it doesn't get done now, it's not going to happen in the spring. And the money that was sent, I was instructed to send all that money to the town of Lunenburg, and the DEP thing would be taken care of out of that.
Yeah, and the check was sent in and they don't have a record of it. So as you stated in the email, if necessary, and it's becoming necessary, I'll send you a new transmittal form, just send it in and I'll keep chasing them for a number.
Okay,
We should be able to
talk to you offline, Matt, about the time, okay, about the timing of this.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give you a call or note. Okay, thanks.
Mr. Chairman?
Jack Rabbit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, it's becoming readily apparent over the last month and a half that DEP is, for some reason, is falling behind. Unfortunately, it's putting our residents, especially those that are living by lakes and things like that, at a significant disadvantage in terms of getting them done this year without tearing up lawns or not being able to get the equipment there. I'm thinking that at this point, if we don't see anything that is really glaring, that we would allow we can approve it, do a tentative approval pending anything that we might receive from the DEP that causes us to back away, and then give them a tentative approval if they will agree that it's at their own risk. And that way we would allow Bill to get that work done. I highly doubtful that the DEP is going to have any major comments in this regard. And I think we have a number of them in town here that are going to get backlogged. And as I would suggest to our chairman that we get a little brazen here and say, you know what, DEP, we're gonna take a chance here. And I think that we ought to be willing to take that chance to help the residents here.
I would take the risk. I would not have a problem with that risk.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. I don't know of any precedents where we've allowed someone to, Rich, you know of any precedent where we allow somebody to proceed with a NOI?
At their risk.
Not off the top of my head, Bob. I can't think of anybody that we have.
We've done that with RDAs. I don't know we've ever done it with an NOI. And while I agree with you, I agree with you.
These are unusual times, Bob.
I agree there are unusual times. It's not.
Well, how about this as a compromise? I could have, you probably know Brett, right? Brett Ramsden. If I say it's approved to bring all these stones in and do that, and he let it sit there, and that would be the heavy work, and it would keep my lawn at least in some reasonable condition, and wait on the construction. I'd try to work with him on doing that. Wait on the construction until the DEP signs off or whatever they have to do.
Well, I actually don't have an issue with that. I'm willing to bet. I know there's an agent that does have the file and he's waiting just for the payment. So I can coordinate with Bill, the DEP bank and the agent. I mean, he's not proposing construction, he's just proposing supplies. So,
Yeah.
And I have no trouble with the placement of additional materials on site, but no construction but I'm only one member. Does anyone on the commission, let's do it this way. Does anyone on the commission object to them bringing in stone only?
No.
No.
Then I'd like to move on and continue this until the 19th.
Hey, Bob, I do have one.
Go ahead,
just
Jeff.
comment. If I'm in complete agreement with you, if we drop that grade down a little bit, so I would just kind of give that leeway to the homeowner if he wants to propose that
Yep.
at the next meeting. I would be in agreement with that as well.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Then I am looking for a motion to continue until the 19th.
So moved.
Did, Bob, you asked for objections to bring in the heavy stuff.
And I didn't get any.
Oh, you didn't get, so I could bring in the heavy stuff on my risk.
Yep.
Okay, I'll do that.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A roll call vote. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. On to our next. So Bill, you all set?
I'm all set. Yep, thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Bill.
The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Eric and Linda Vickery for work at 160 Peninsula Drive for the replacement of wood retaining wall and a stationary timber dock within the buffer zone. Now, this one I know at the last hearing, the only holdup was they needed a DEP number. And unless I'm getting really senile, we got the DEP number the very next day.
good news, Bob, you're correct.
Holy mackerel. And so let's just review with the members of the commission. We should review what they're proposing here.
Would you like me to share my screen?
Hey, why don't you share your screen? Let me make sure I've
Excuse me, Bob, just taking like a minute break. I'll be right back.
all right.
Bob, I forgot to mention this earlier. I did fill out Mullins forms and send them to you and Matt
And-
from
and-
the meeting I
and-
missed.
And thank you very much. And we got a ton of Mullins forms from her today. Let's
Sure.
make sure I've enabled, oh, I just enabled screen sharing. Try again, Eric.
All righty, thank you.
Let me see what.
Here we go.
Are you able to see that?
Yep. So take
Okay.
us through us quickly here, Eric.
I'm sorry?
Can you take us through what you're proposing here quickly?
Certainly. Yeah, Happy New Year. Thank you for reviewing this again. As you may recall from the last meeting, we're looking to replace the railroad tie wall that we have in this area that you see here. This existing dock will be removed, and with the top-down plan, this is the existing. It's 17 feet wide, excuse me, deep, 21 feet across. The existing dock will be removed, and all we're doing is just simply replacing the tie with stone. And that will be rounded out. The perimeter area here will be smooth, but the actual amount is about the same. And then we will replace with a new aluminum rolling dock on the far side of the beach.
And I'll remind the other commissioners that the actual document that's submitted, this is a presentation that Eric did, states that all work will be done when the lake is lower, that there'll be erosion protection between where the work is done and the lake water, and that the area of the new rounded section will be the same as the area of the original section.
That's correct.
And so are there any comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr. Chair, I did have a quick question.
Go ahead.
Has this, I take it that none of this documentation was sent in with the application to DEP?
No, it was all sent.
It was.
Okay, and again, just from reading DEP's comments, their comment was the site plan is required for all work in wetlands protection area jurisdiction, and at a minimum should reference proposed work resource areas and their associated buffer zones and erosion control. The commission should refrain from closing this hearing until a site plan has been received by Mass DEP and the commission.
Okay, I need to address that really quick.
I'm kind of questioning as to what was submitted to DEP.
I got to address that really quick.
Okay.
So as far as what DEP is looking for in a plan, that's one thing. But as far as the requirement for a site plan, if I disagree with that totally, that I believe is a personal interpretation from the DEP reviewer. If you actually look at the regulations required by DEP, the applicants may submit a plan, and the DEP they suggest it, but they don't require it, because there are cases like the Vickeries, and then we have Mr. Emke, and then there are other people that just they can put what they can put on paper and give the commission a good representation, but they may not necessarily be able to afford engineering costs. So saying it's a requirement for a site plan, like it's an absolute, is actually not correct.
And this was provided to them.
So, I mean, what the commission would want, if the commission decides it wants a site plan, that's a commission call, and it's not inappropriate to do so. If the commission wants more information on these diagrams, I mean, that's a commission call. So that's up to you guys. But I was a little concerned, and Bob, I think I discussed this with you briefly when the thing first came out. The sentence that there must be a site plan submitted, I found that wording a little trouble. So I just wanted to clarify that. That was all. I'm not saying, Rich, that you don't have a point as far as what needs to be shown on the plan. It's that word saying must that I had a concern with, and that's all, guys.
Richard, back to Richard. Richard, you got additional comments here?
No, I actually was happy with the presentation. I thought it explained it well with the pictures and the diagram showing right where it was in regards to the resource area. I was just questioning why they had put that comment the way they did.
Thank you very much, Richard. Are there any other comments or questions from commissioners? I would just note that this commission routinely accepts non-engineered plans for NOIs in effort to be user-friendly. Any comments or questions from members of the public? I'm looking for a motion to approve this application, this notice of intent as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call vote. Rich Birsch.
Aye.
Jeff Viviano.
Aye.
Patty Adams.
Aye.
Katie Childs.
Aye.
Mike LaRouche.
Aye.
Jack Rabbit.
Aye.
And I for myself. Any questions, Eric?
No, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Matt, we'll see you in the morning.
See you then.
Actually, you won't see me in the actual morning. I don't start until 10 on Thursdays.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, the Town of Lunenburg Wetland Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a request for determination by Matthew Butterworth for the placement of a shed within the buffer zone at 188 Whalum Road. Is Mr. Butterworth here?
Mr. Chairman, I've sent Mr. Butterworth, repeated notices about this stuff on our meetings, and I haven't received any response from him. So my recommendation is to continue it at one more meeting. And I'm going to send him a notice that if he doesn't show to the meeting, we're going to withdraw the determination. And I'll make a note of it on the building permit application.
Okay. So please do that. I'm looking for a motion to continue until the 19th.
So moved.
So moved.
All right,
Second.
we have two motions,
Mhm.
2 seconds. Roll call vote, Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and Jack Rabbit.
Aye.
All right. And I for myself.
So if there's 2 seconds, should I note it as a fourth? Sorry, couldn't resist the dad joke. I couldn't resist the dad joke, Katie.
Pursuant to Mass General, Law, you know how you can tell when something's a dad joke? When it becomes
Tell me.
apparent.
When it becomes.
Okay,
That was a good
pursuant to
one.
Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 as amended, and the Town of Lunenburg Wetland Protections and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Kevin Hill for the construction of a single-family home at 41 Country Lane.
Evening, Wesley Fliss, Whitman and Bingham Associates, a division of Haley Ward.
Aha,
Represent Kevin Hill for his project over at 41 Country Road.
thank you, Wesley. Are you willing to share your screen?
I can if you want.
I would love that. Then I don't have to do it.
Show up correctly?
I'm an N95 mascot.
Do you guys all see the plan in front of you?
Okay,
Okay, so at the last meeting, or last couple of meetings, we talked about changing the house size to get more of the house and the garage out of the 100-foot inner riparian zone.
mhm.
And so presenting to you this evening is a modification to the plan that you saw last meeting to get the majority of the house and all of the garage out of the 100-foot inner riparian zone. You can see right in here is the 100-foot inner riparian zone. The majority of the house was moved about 9.25 feet up toward Country Road. There was also a bump out in the previous house. The bump out has been eliminated out of the house. So there was some square footage there also removed out of the house. So the back line of the house, like I said, is moved around 9.25 feet forward. The deck remains in the back the way it was shown before. The septic tank and pump chamber also was moved in the same manner. So the force main obviously had to be relocated to make that work to feed out to the septic system that's out in the rear of the property. One of the other changes that we made was to kind of tuck the garage into the house where before it stuck out of the house. When we kind of shifted things around, the only way to kind of get this to work was to get the house kind of snugged into the house by it's about 12 feet, and I think it's 16 feet. I think is how we kind of steal a little bit of a corner there in the previous version that we had in front of the commission. And so what we looked at footprint wise of the house and the covered porch that we had shown before were about 89 square feet smaller now. So we did lose a little bit of square footage from the previous iteration. And then the reduction in the 100-foot inner riparian zone, we actually reduced that by 808 square feet, less disturbance in the inner riparian zone. And so by moving everything forward, we were able to change the limits of clearing also in the back. So I know that was a question at the last couple of meetings, was to see if we could kind of change that in the back there where the perennial stream is in the rear of the property in here and tucked into the wetlands. We were trying to see if we could pull it further away while still, respecting the town's 30-foot no touch buffer zone, which is in here. And then the 50-foot no build zone by keeping the garage and the house out of the 50-foot no build zone. And so that was what we were able to come up with. So what the applicant's willing to do is, he's proposing this footprint. Last couple times he had a house in mind that he wanted to build out here. What he's gonna end up having to do is work with the people that he works with to build the house, or to design the floor plans and figure out the best way to maximize this floor space. Like I said, it's different than what he had shown before, but this is something that he believes that he can still figure out a way to get what he wants out of this footprint, and still have the one-story living that he was really trying to accomplish here. But still, again, trying to give the commission more of what they're looking for from the last couple of meetings that you were asking for, with moving a good portion of the house out of the inner riparian zone. Really only a small portion of the house now is in that inner riparian zone compared to the previous iteration. And I could show the previous iteration if the commission wants to review that previous iteration. I'm not sure if you guys want to see that or not.
I have no interest in seeing it. Does anybody want to see the previous iteration?
And I know,
The only comment I did have in looking at both of them, Wes, was you moved the canopy line, but you didn't move your erosion control line in the back of the house.
I did not, and the reason I didn't move it is I liked where we had it before, because I think it's going to collect as much of the runoff that comes off the back of the property too. So if I tucked it up close to the tree line, I wasn't confident that we would collect all the runoff from the back portion of disturbance.
Okay.
And so I was more concerned about that. So that's why I left it where I showed it on the plan.
Okay, but your tree line is going to be your limit of work?
The tree line will be a limit of work. The erosion control barrier. I'm more concerned about making sure that we collect anything that would come off the upper portion, down the hill and by the back of that house.
Okay.
And so, if you want us to move the erosion control barrier, I have no issue with that. But like I said, my main concern was to make sure that we collected everything that we could during construction.
No, that sounds fair. Thank you very much.
Anything else, Rich?
Nope, no, I'm happy because he took into consideration pretty much all of the comments that I had, and getting rid of almost 900 square feet in the inner riparian zone and still get basically the same square footage as they were looking for initially, I think is a win-win.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Chairman?
Jack Rabbit.
My favorite topic, boulders, markers, or whatever along that 30-foot line in the front of the house, such that we end up not mowing down into that no-touch buffer zone.
You could put a condition on it that you give us the option, and I know that I talked to the client. I didn't talk to him about that item. So if you condition it with a couple different options, and we'll let the client know that that's what he has to do. And I don't know, do you guys have a standard placard that you use to
boulders?
Okay.
We have some commissioners who are in love with boulders.
I love my rocks. I love my trees.
And we have other commissioners who think they're excessive. So
only half of them.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
Bob?
Yes, sir.
May I suggest using what's known as phenol markers instead?
What are those?
Phenol markers are essentially metal like tags. They're circular in nature. They're marked conservation sign, and they would be basically posted into the ground, flush to the ground like an iron rod. So they would stand out. The typical markers that are marketed nowadays by these companies, they're basically rust proof. And a lot of commissions are now using those markers because one, it replaces the boulders, and two, they're more permanent than a placard. And you could do those every so many feet. Considering the width of this lot, it would be a minimal cost actually to the homeowner, and it would be a much more permanent marker that would actually be readily visible when you go on that site.
Matthew, for us, at least for myself, can you spell that?
F-E-E-N-O.
Phenol. Oh,
phenol marker.
Matt, do they stick high enough up that if a lawnmower runs over it, it loses its blade?
No, they would be flush to the ground, but they will be readily visible.
Okay.
It's actually FENO. I apologize.
I think
Essentially, you've got
Wesley
a
is
lot of your
probably
smaller.
Googling them right now. Am I right, Wes?
Yeah, it's, I'm looking them up too.
Actually, I can't take credit for the idea. I got it from the town of Concord. They're using those exclusively. And I mean, those guys are pretty picky in what they approve. And their staff tends to like those markers, and so do their commission.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Any comments or questions from members of the public? Matt, we have a DEP number on this, I believe.
We do.
Yes, we do.
We do.
And it looks like the comments that Judy Schmidt herself did the review. And it looks like the comments that she made are essentially what you guys were asking for, almost verbatim. It's kind of nice when that happens, but it looks like to me everything, it looks like to me the comments were addressed, so.
And so, what I would prefer, I don't know what I'm gonna get, but what I would prefer to get a motion now with a condition that we would specify phenol markers, but who knows what I'm gonna get.
Bob, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, Jeff.
I would say those or a 5x5 piece of granite, sticking up 6 inches would be, that would suffice for me as well, but.
Okay. Jeff, are you
And there's a
making that a
couple
motion?
I'll make that a motion.
Okay,
Who's
so
second
either
that?
with monuments, granite monuments or phenol markers, motion to approve with the condition that the 30-foot no disturbance boundary be marked with granite monuments or phenol markers. Do we have a second to that?
Second.
We have 2 seconds. Roll call vote. Rich Birch.
Probably did.
Sorry about that. I had a quick question for the original motioner as far as the distance apart on the granite monuments.
Well, that's a good question. How far apart?
House 20 feet. What do we normally do? I'm not really sure.
About 20 feet.
Okay.
Second, are you okay with 20 feet?
Yes.
All right. Rich, are you ready to vote, Rich?
Aye.
Aye. Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself.
Good
you
job,
very much.
Wesley. Good job.
Wesley, thank you so much for making those changes to get to a yes.
No problem. Have a great night.
Yep. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40 is amended. The Phenol River Wetland Protection Bylaw, Protection and Municipal Bylaws, a public hearing on a notice of intent by Mass Pleasant LLC will be held. Where proposed is the construction of a 6-lot subdivision, roadway, utilities, and a proposed wetland crossing at 101 Pleasant Street. I believe I saw Mr. Graz here. Paul Graz. Unmute yourself, Paul. Paul, you have to unmute yourself. There you go.
How's that?
Now try speaking.
How's that?
I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
Paul, would you like to share your screen or do you need me to do it?
Sure, I will, I'll share it.
Perfect.
It's showing up now?
We were looking at the screen. Now we're looking at the agenda.
Uh-oh. Two monitors, sometimes a little confusing. How's that?
I have the same situation, which is why I like other people to share the screen.
Nothing?
No, we're looking at the plan.
Got it?
Yep.
Okay, good. So we had a site walk, I think it was the end of November. And we had staked out where the proposed common drive was going. I guess first I should say, just to refresh your memories, this started out as a 6-lot subdivision. During the planning board process, it went down to 4 lots. And just, I think, based on the economics and the extensive amount of stormwater management that was going to be required, the owner decided just to go with 2 A&R lots. So we had revised the plan to show a common driveway serving the 2 lots. And when we did the site walk, you may remember there was an existing cart road on the property, and the location of that cart road didn't agree with the planning board's regulation for common driveways. They're supposed to split the property line. So that was going to put the common driveway, the center of it, over here, which was, much closer to the wetlands. Well, it caused a greater disturbance of wetlands, and it would have caused a great bit of tree cutting in that area. So I took the Conservation Commission's recommendation. So I'll go back to the planning board, and we haven't had any luck with them yet on getting any types of waivers or any types of relief. And sure enough, they said, yeah, we'll let you move the common driveway. So now we've got the common driveway following that existing cart path to get to the 2 houses. The other thing that we looked at is the proposed replication area. We had previously had it in this area here, which lot of mature trees in that area. Of course, the replication area used to be much larger. Because we were able to reduce the wetlands impact, the proposed replication area now is just 5,800 square feet. And the area that we talked about on the site walk was keep it out of the woods altogether and put in this area right here, which you can see the tree line, the existing tree line goes like this. So we're keeping it in the open. It's a nice low area anyways, and it should provide for great, really good reclamation area. And we can hook it to the wetlands right over here in kind of a narrow spot. Other than that, you did ask that we move this house right here a little bit closer to, not closer, I'm sorry, further from the, we had it right on the 50-foot setback line before. So we were getting close to our limit of disturbance on our 1 acre. We had it around 40,000 square feet before. So we pushed the house back, the house and the septic, and we're still able to stay under the 1 acre alteration limit. So we've increased this to, from 50 to 60 feet now, or maybe a little more than 60, but a good bit away from the 50-foot anyways. So that's basically, we got some good news from the planning board, and we're able to make, to just cause a lot less land disturbance and wetland loss with this plan.
Adam Bernie did verify that to me, that the planning board did approve it.
Thank you, Matt. Any comments or questions from commissioners?
Mr.
Jack
Chairman.
Rabbit.
Paul, thank you very much. You did a really good job on this one. You know, you were able to go and save a pile of trees, you moved the wetland replication area, you did the trees. You're a good man. You did a good piece of work there. I want to
Thank
say
you.
thank you personally. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good job.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners?
I did have a quick question, Bob, on here. Maybe we just have one line that didn't get deleted. I see 2,800 square feet of permanent wetland alteration, and I see 4,200 square feet of permanent wetland.
Oh, yeah, yeah, the 4,200 was the previous plan. It's actually the 2894,
Okay,
which doubling that gets us, we
5,800.
rounded up to 5,800.
Okay, just wanted confirmation on that. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, I missed that.
Richard
Do we
doesn't, not much gets past Richard.
It's
Do
true.
we have a planting schematic for the replication area?
Yeah, what I'm doing here is I was going to be planting shrubs and trees and that kind of thing, and trying to work around trees. But in the area we're putting it back, it's open, it's all sunlight. So I'm going with the per note 4 here. I'm going with 3 pounds of the square footage would call for about 2 pounds, but I'm going to have them plant 3 pounds of New England wetland seed mix in that area. And that should take pretty quickly.
Actually, I'm pretty familiar with that mix. I've used it myself in my own projects for restoration. It works really well. And as far as the nature of the replication, as a result of him moving the driveway over, the area that is being filled to be replicated is actually an open area to begin with. So the nature of the wetland being filled and the nature of the wetland being replicated are almost identical. And I too am also very glad that we were able to move that replication area out to where it is. It's really maximized to allow for good replication, something that has a good hydraulic connection. And you don't have to be wholesale slaughtering trees or trying to work around them to begin with. It's a nice open area. Hydrology wise, it should work awesome. So.
Thank you, Matt. Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Any comments or questions from members of the public? I'm looking for a motion to approve this notice of intent.
So
So moved.
We have 2 motions. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Roll call vote. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. Thank you, Paul.
All right, thank you very much.
Good job, Paul. Good job.
Good night.
At the end.
I'm looking for a motion to continue. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent by Zachary Taylor for the construction of a new duplex home, septic and related site grading at 123 Trace Road. I'm looking for a motion to continue this until February 2nd.
So moved.
So moved.
All right, I'll take one of those as a second.
Second.
Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. I'm looking for a motion to continue Mr. Brightman for work at 524 Northfield Road for the replacement of a septic system and wall and filling the former swimming pool till the 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Rich, second by Mike. Roll call vote. Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit.
Aye.
Okay. The agenda says 61A release, but I don't think there is one.
No, I forgot to take that off. Sorry.
That's all right. Let's go straight to, old business, update on it. Let's skip over old business and go straight to enforcement and to 441 Thompson Harbor Road. Matthew, can you update us on what's happening there?
Very
I
good.
believe
I'm here
Steve
tonight
Marsden
on
is
that, Bob.
I
What?
believe Steve Marsden is here representing the applicant.
I'm
Okay.
here tonight on that, Bob.
All right, so Steve, tell us what you have to say for the applicant.
Yep, basically, in the last few days, trying to get myself up to speed on what's happened out there, talking with everybody at Dillis and Roy and Casey and Matt and the Board of Health. There's a laundry list of issues on the site. The owner, Nick Eaton, hired me and Donnie LeBlanc Deluxe Building to take care of the resolution of what's been going on out there. So I don't have, I know that Nick submitted a plan for tonight, but I don't have the actual structural plans yet. So the crux of it, we are going to remove the overhang. We're going to take everything out of that, away from the front of the building towards the lake, as requested by the commission. So everything associated with the structure will be removed. And we're coming up with a new roof plan. I don't know which way the trusses are going to go. So what I would request tonight is that you give me another till next meeting to come before you with the actual structural plans to show you exactly what we're going to build. But we are taking the commission's request and direction very seriously, and we will be removing all of the overhang, and it will be completely removed back to the facade of the existing building, which would coincide with the previous building that was destroyed by the tree. So we're going to remove everything right out of the 35 and the 50 that's existing, and going back to what you approved on your orders of conditions. I don't have the plan for you tonight, but I will have it for you next meeting.
Anything else to add, Steve? Nick, do you have anything to add to that?
Nick, you there?
Yeah. I mean, other than that, Matt, I don't know if you can somehow upload that. Again, it's just a rough sketch, but that's pretty much what we're looking at. And I mean, we're waiting on the actual design of the truss. I mean, but that's pretty much
Well,
what we're looking for.
We're looking at it, Nick. Yep. But
Okay.
as of tonight, until I have the actual trusses and the actual commit, I don't want to commit anything other than we're taking the commission's direction extremely serious, and we are removing any part of the structure within 1 foot. We need a 1 foot overhang towards the lake from the existing structure, which was as approved by your order of conditions previously. So we're gonna follow exactly what it is you approved previously. But the actual location of the trusses and the roof line, there's a laundry list of issues with the structure, and until I'm able to resolve all of those, I don't want to commit to you what it's going to look like, but I will commit to you what I'm going to do.
Any comments or questions from commissioners? Jack Rabbit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This would be a question to Steve or Nick. Hey, you had a dead pine right over on the Bill Emke side. Was that on the request for changes? I mean, it's a dead pine. It just needs to.
This is an enforcement issue, Jack. What has this got to do with that?
Okay, I thought we were making modifications to the original plan that was submitted. And so the enforcement was.
Let me take that. Let me go out and I will take that under advisement, Jack, and I will make sure that that's resolved, either shown or addressed in that next meeting.
I wasn't sure if it had been in the, but.
Yep, no, I'm not sure either, Jack, so Not knowing, all I can tell you is that I will have that answer for you next meeting.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Chairman.
Yep. Any other comments or questions from commissioners? Any comments or questions from members of the public? Jeremy?
Yes, I just wanted on the record there, the client was held in breach of contract, so we have put that there. The attorneys have put the liens in place. Everything has been there. So aside from the Facebook libel and slander and that kind of stuff, I just wanted to make clear that we do have all the permits. We did put everything there as proprietary information, and until paid or received payment for it, I was just asking for a continuance, but Mr. Marsden already did that. So that was it. I just wanted it on the record. So that way there, it's more than just a Facebook. This is being held. All the liens are in place. All permits in our name currently are going to be held, and the attorneys needed 2 weeks to finish what they're doing.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yep.
That I think I'd like to move on to other enforcement issues. I don't think there's any more discussion of this enforcement issue required tonight.
Very good. Thank you, Bob. See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. All right. Matt, can you take us through the rest of the enforcement issues here?
Yeah, hold on one second. Okay, so 615 Townsend Street, that's the Val Barrows property. I'm going to be touring the site next Tuesday with Casey Burlingame, the building commissioner. We're going to take a look at the areas in question, go over the zoning, earth removal, all the other issues that we had discussed previously. So I'll have an update for the commission at the next meeting on what Casey's findings are, because that's going to affect the way we do the enforcement. I'll also go up to make sure that, everything is under control erosion wise and that everything else has been done. Leominster Road illegal dumping activity. There is a notice of intent forthcoming. I did receive a notice of intent from Heather for the next meeting, but that was I thought it was for this one, but it's for a different item. And I just got that tonight. So I'm expecting that one at any time. I'll contact the engineer that she retained for an update to find out when exactly we should be expecting that. 48 Oak Ridge, that's in legal's hands. When I do my next meeting with Adam Foster, I'll ask him for an update. 205 Arbor Street, that was the one with the horse manure. I've never received an answer from DEP. I'm going to call, I'll call Judy. I've got a couple of items I got to talk to Judy Schmidt about, so I'll talk to her about that one personally. 23 Cove Road. I haven't had the chance to walk the site yet with DPW to go over the issues. DPW has had a lot of issues with COVID. At one point, almost the entire department was out, and they're all just getting back to work. So I should have an update on that for you guys at the next meeting.
On 23 Cove,
On
if you
23
recall, I said, if you drive by there, there's now that frame that was there has been turned into a building. And it also looked to me like they were cutting trees down on the other side of the house.
I haven't taken a look at the trees, but I'll take a look at that this week.
Thank you.
I know there was an area of trees that were marked that some of them were out of any buffer zones. So I'm going to take a look and do some measurements. It was on an adjacent lot that he had purchased. So
This is if you're looking at the house from Cove to the right of it.
yep, that's the lot.
Okay.
Good catch.
190 Peninsula Drive, 2 Gabe's Place 4 under continuance. Patty, I will contact you for a separate site walk. We could probably do something on a Saturday. See what else. 190 Peninsula. I haven't heard anything from anybody on that one. So that was the submergence.
Okay.
We're all set. Thank you. Can I just keep?
I had stepped away for a minute, but I heard you. Thank you. You'll be contacting me.
Yep.
Is that?
Is that it, Matt?
That's it.
I believe I just sent everybody an email. on that I had sent to Adam Costa. They completed the survey of one of the lots from on Thompson Harbor Road, from where the Mulpus Brook all the way around to the last house on the left as you're going up Woodland Drive. And if you open the attached thing, 46924-plan, that's the plan they submitted. Based on their survey, there were 5 lots with encroachments. And so I asked Adam to draft letters, to those 5 homeowners, saying, telling them that they've trespassed on conservation land and asking them, to, remove their stuff from the conservation land. Are there any comments or questions about that?
Chairman?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you realize, if you had the selectmen's meeting last night, you saw them establish a precedent with regard to other pieces of town property where they've been essentially left objects on them or decided to put some of their own personal property on the town properties. And, I had a chance to, I looked at your email, I ran down to look at the Thompson Harbor, the 192. And boy, I realized he put an addition onto the house, and this was 20 years ago or so. And he added the driveway, and he didn't take, my summation is he didn't take a close look. And our consternation has been the fact that he's been using conservation lands to store his vehicles and things like that. If we were to attempt to fully enforce this or come up with some sort of reasonable compromise, if we try to enforce it, his property value would take a big hit because he couldn't access his driveway. If you take a look at the layout, that driveway clearly belongs to the town, and but he does abut that driveway even if it's town land. And I was wondering if the commission would consider where it is that driveway is now a town byway, could we allow him to use that only as a byway, and that way he could access his garage and such. The other side of that road, where he's been stashing that stuff, obviously that would have to come out. But I'm wondering what if we put a gravel parking area in there, and all of a sudden it becomes a legitimate way of accessing the Mulpus. And that way the property owners could still get in and out of their house via some sort of a public byway. And that way we could come to an agreement with him, and that he wouldn't put anything over there. And we could create a small parking area for people that want to access the Mulpus with their kayaks. And that way we would save a pile of court money, possibly. We would save this property individual quite a bit of consternation and cash outflow and or loss of property. And we would end up with something. So I'm just thinking that why couldn't we use that driveway as a public way, allow him to use it to get in and out of it, and we wouldn't plow it, but if he wanted to, he could. That kind of a thing. So I'm just putting that out there to the team where we're in charge of the care and custody of it. Perhaps that might be something that could work. That's all. Thank you.
Jack, could I ask what precedent you're talking about?
Okay, last night the selectmen made a decision with regard to boulders being placed by a resident next to the senior center. And basically the town determined last night that they were going to go to the Supreme Court with it and let the courts take care of it. And that's probably the path that we would end up if we couldn't convince the residents to, whether it's moving the trash or whatever they're putting on our conservation land. If they chose not to take our lead, then we would either be ending up fining him or we would end up taking him to court or something. And I just think that might be a rough way of doing it, especially in this particular case where it's something you can't just easily pick up. And the precedent would be that, yeah, we're going to court unless we can resolve them. I know we can fine them. I know that, but you can't move a house. You just can't move a house. So that was my concern, Matt.
Okay, thanks, Jack. I wasn't sure what you meant. I hadn't seen the meeting.
Okay, sorry about that. I should have been more clear, probably.
Under what circumstances do you think we could fine them, Jack?
Fining the other people, or
well, you said, oh, we can fine them.
Well, I mean, what are the vehicles that are available to us to cause a resident or cause a violation to be taken care of? And
you'd have to go to court, Jack.
Yeah, we will, but I think first you start establishing a fine, and you go down that path.
Jack, and so my question is, under what vehicle would you establish a fine?
Is there a wetlands violation, and who's ultimately responsible if it's on our property?
Yeah.
I mean, you're creating a technical glitch on that.
Okay.
The better route, if you're going to enforce, would be to file a civil action in court. Because if you start fining, number one, you'd be fining ourselves, and number two, if we did fine the homeowner, you'd have to start the track that we did with Dan Gardner, which would be to go to criminal court first. I don't think this is like criminal worthy.
I don't either. My intent here is to open up the possibilities of how we can help this resident get over a really hard spot. And meantime, if we take that driveway and allow the use of that, because it becomes a kind of a quasi public way, as it would be a small town forest little road up there. Why couldn't we allow him to do something like that? But he's gonna, we put a little parking there over there to make sure that he's not using that space, or people can use it as well. So I'm just trying to find a way of not causing the town to spend a pile of money and not really causing some significant harm to this.
So my comment is this. Step one is we ask the town attorney to send everybody who's encroaching. Okay, and the town has spent $8,000 to develop this, to hire a surveyor to go out and survey the property line. And the survey plan shows, 5 of the properties along there are encroaching. And so step one is to send all 5 people, a letter, saying, please remove your stuff. And then we wait and see what happens for a response. And so you're presupposing, what the response is going to be from this gentleman. I don't know if you've talked with them.
No, I haven't.
To me, we should let the process run. I mean, whether or not it goes to court or not will not be, ultimately, you can't go to, we have no power to go to court. Only the selectmen can decide whether we're going to court. And under what circumstances. So I think this discussion is premature, Jack.
Okay, Bob, and I understand, appreciate that. I'm tempting to try and see if we can't find a working solution with this resident, and that we could come forward to the selectmen and say, you know what, we think we have a solution that we could live with. And I think we should start that kind of discussion.
Mr. Chair, are we talking about 192 Townsend Harbor?
We sure are.
Okay. I mean, I think the attorney put it pretty bluntly, and it's pretty much out of our hands. Town land is subject to Article 97 of the amendments to the Massachusetts Constitution, meaning town land cannot be used for purposes other than conservation without an explicit law enacted by a 2/3 vote of the legislature.
Right.
So I think our hands are pretty well tied as far as moving forward with this and our ability to offer them a relief at this time.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, Rich, through you, Mr. Chairman. Rich, when I took a look at that, we would turn that into essentially a driveway. And if we had a driveway for a parking area, if someone was abutting our property and they came down that driveway and moved onto their own property.
I heard you, Jack. I
Yeah.
just don't agree with our ability to do any of that, so. But
Okay,
I agree with Bob, but we should be allowing the process to play out
okay.
further.
But keep it in the back of your head. Maybe we can work something out with them. That could work. We just haven't explored every possibility.
Any other comments or questions from commissioners on this matter? Let's see, got another email I want to send everybody. Sorry. I didn't-
Bob, can you include me on that chain? I didn't get the last one.
Oh, it's the same email that I copied you on when I sent it the first time, Matt. I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay, not a problem.
Where I forwarded the plan, I forwarded the summary, and and I sent him an initial letter saying, can you send a letter to these 4 people? And I didn't understand what the little line with the X's on it was, and I had to reach out to Rob Oliver to find out, what that was, and he confirmed that it was a fence. So I said, well, gee, also please send a letter to the people who have put a fence on the land, because I wasn't sure whether it was a fence or whether it was just trying to indicate that they had extended their lawn into, onto the land, but they did indeed have a fence. So,
We need boulders.
Okay.
yeah.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Oh, some time ago, I got a letter from the bylaw review committee. And they're reviewing all the bylaws in town. And they wanted to know if, we thought there needed to be any changes to our bylaws. So what I'm asking is I'm gonna put this on the agenda of our next meeting under a new business and or old business, I'm not sure. And take and ask people to review the bylaw and see if anybody thinks there's anything in there that should be changed. And then get back to the people on the bylaw review committee who reached out to me to begin with. I think I sent you all a copy of the report on kiosks. I have to say, how deeply indebted the Conservation Commission is to the Lunenburg Snow Riders. It's incredible the work they put into first constructing the kiosks and then installing them. And so they put up 6 brand new kiosks. And then addition, I went around and redid 2 of the kiosks that they had put in on off of Thompson Harbor Road at the entrance to the Harold Harley viewing platform. I redid that one. I redid the one they did at the Lane property. And I redid the 2 existing kiosks at the Cowdery lot on Mass Ave and on Mulpus. Rich, do you know who built those kiosks to begin with?
I don't off the top of my head, Bob.
Yeah. And then I also added materials to the 2 kiosks we have in town that were originally built by Eagle Scouts. So all our kiosks now are current. Every kiosk has a complete set of our regulations, our land use regulations on them, except for the one at Clark's Hill, because that was an Eagle Scout kiosk and it's too small to support that. And all the rest of the kiosks have both a copy of what you can do to help with the trails grant and a copy of two QR codes that shows, how to get to smartphone, smartphone trails apps for trail navigation. Matt, can you take us through certificates of compliance?
Okay, so I couldn't remember whether or not you guys actually approved 50-page lot 1 at the last meeting. That was that's the one, the 2 houses that were on Jeff Stone's old property. That lot is done, and it's done in accordance with the order. I believe there's an as-built. I do have an as-built on file. I think I put it on the cloud. The other one is a single-family house that was built back in 1993. I put the order of conditions up, or the recorded version of the order of conditions up on the cloud. And the special condition that was called for was nothing to be disturbed within the 30-foot no-touch zone. And I went and looked at the site, and it looks like this order to me is compliant with or the house is compliant with the original order of conditions. So considering how old this file is, yeah, 1993. So you're talking a 20-year-old order. My recommendation would be to issue the certificate on that one. I'm just looking to see if I have 50-page on the cloud here. That was the one we approved from Ducharme and Dillis.
I believe lot 1 we did approve.
Okay, so that one we could just take off the agenda. But the 1608, that one I don't have, and there was another one. Yeah, I guess that's it.
And so, is there any discussion about approving 1608 Mass Ave's certificate of compliance? Matt, you're recommending we approve that?
That is correct.
If there's no discussion, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
We have a second. Motion and second. Roll call vote. Rich Birch?
Yeah, I was still reviewing it, Bob.
I'm sorry. Do you want a minute, Rich? I don't want to rush anybody here.
No, if Matt is recommending approval, do we have a description of the request for certificate of compliance,
Matt, can
What
you
was that,
answer?
Rich? You cut out. It was
Matt?
kind of weird.
Do we have a request or any documentation that went along with 1608, the request for certificate of compliance?
I have the request. I have the request from the attorney. If you look at the order, I didn't see anything that required an engineer's letter. If I recall, we didn't require those. It was before my time, and those weren't required back in the day. So we do have an official request from the closing attorney's office because this house is up for sale. So I went out, I pulled the old file. Actually, I got it from the building inspector because this file apparently has been archived. And I went out and took a look at it based on the plan reference, and it looks compliant to me.
Thank you. Yeah, I will vote affirmative on the request for certificate of compliance, Mr. Chair.
All right, and so do we have a motion to approve the certificate of compliance?
We did by Patty and a second by Katie.
Oh, we did. Thank you. I'm glad someone's paying attention.
Yes.
So Richard has voted affirmative. Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and an aye for myself. Administrator's determination, 218 Island Road.
All right, so let me just pull that up. So Bob, is it okay if I share the screen?
Absolutely.
Wow, to think I actually did that one in under 30 seconds. There's a new one. So we have 218 Island Road. You have a wetland system that's in the back. You have a pine tree right here that the resident is looking to remove. And then you have, I did a close-up picture of the pine. Okay. And then this double stem right here. This thing is dead. I went up and took a close look at it. It's in pretty tough shape. The tree company wasn't Mark Flag, it was the other Flag. I believe it's his nephew or something like that.
HM Flag?
Yep. And he actually, give him credit, he was the one that called me out here to look at this because he wasn't going to touch anything until he heard from us. So they are proposing to cut them and not stump them. There's nowhere near within a 30-foot zone. They are buffer zone trees. Recommend that we ratify the administrator's determination.
Any comments or questions from commissioners? I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
All right, motion a second. Roll call, Rich Birch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano,
Aye.
Patty Adams,
Aye.
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
and Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. Let's see. I just emailed you all these draft goals under open space and land use, trail issues and strategies. A little background here. The Lunenburg Snow Riders are looking to apply for a recreational trails program grant. And they reached out to me to see, are there any projects they could do on Lunenburg conservation lands that they could use, for in-kind, donations, as part of their trails grants. They're looking to buy a piece of equipment, and I don't know what it costs, but they have to have a local match. And so I started thinking about, well, what are all the different projects that, need to be done relative to conservation lands? And I got on a roll. I didn't stop myself. And so, so this draft goals. And so the first, so I just wanted to run through these quickly. We've talked about most of these, everything at the beginning before. I want to acquire 250 Howard Street rear through the tax title process. Acquire 1529 Mass Ave rear through the tax title process. 731 Page Street, that's the right of way that gets us to the rear land at Page Street that we own. And 0 Old Turnpike Road, which also, augments that land over there. I want to clarify documentation of the assignment of land to Conservation Commission, the assessors database. We got 4 properties here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties here. Where if you look at their deed, the deed doesn't say anything about being assigned to conservation. But upon research, it turns out that there was a town meeting action that said that did assign it to conservation. But I don't know that there was ever a town clerk certificate filed. And so I'm trying to find that out, because if you take and you look in the assessor's database, the assessor's database, references, a deed. So we need, so if you file the town clerk certificate, then that would be the deed, that shows that it's under the care and control of the Conservation Commission, because the regular deed, doesn't show that. And the same thing goes for 781 Page Street rear. That's a parcel that's under our care and control. The deed for that does not show that it's under the care and control of the Conservation Commission. And so again, I'm gonna want to research that to see, was that ever assigned to the Conservation Commission by a town meeting action? And if so, do that. And then conservation land improvements, Northwest Town Forest, 280 Howard Street Trail and parking. We've talked about this before. This would require an NOI be filed with the state DEP. I have to take a meeting with Casey Burlingame. It could be that anytime we do parking spaces, we need to go through some kind of planning board process, but I'm not. I spoke with Adam. Adam Burney brought this to my attention, but he says Casey Burlingame's call, and I should talk with Casey about it. Because it seems like a little overkill if we want to, put some gravel in the woods so people can park, that we got to go through the planning board for that. But we'll have to find out. And at some point, I would like us to be able to cut a trail to Northwest Town Forest across the right of way through 615 West Townsend Road. Well, that's not a high priority for me anyway, because there's no place for parking on the road there. Table Rock. I was talking with Matt about this. I'd like to put in a parking area if you go up Stagecoach Road. If you go past the first house and before we get to the second house, I like to make something off into the woods to the left there to make a parking area in there, and then make a trail straight from there up to Table Rock. And at the Howard Street end of Table Rock, I recently spoke with Seth Mayer, and he still intends to clear that north end. It's been over a year since I asked him to do it, and he hasn't done it yet. But he says that's only because he's been really busy, and his equipment hasn't been on the land all this time. But he's still planning to do it. And when that happens, I'm expecting that we're going to want to put a kiosk at the northern end of that, because that'll be another access point to Table Rock. Hunting Hill, we need a new bridge there. The bridge there is rotten. And plus I want to talk with them. Right now, the field isn't really getting hayed. And so we got to, establish some way to get back to Hunting Hill. Cowdrey Conservation Area, create some parking spots at the frontage between 240 and 240 and 224 Townsend Harbor Road. Move the kiosk out closer to the road so it's visible from the road. I mean, it's like, to me, we should, if you recall, we have a volunteer who's putting on every kiosk the name of the property in big letters. So put that right out by the road so people can see it driving by, and improve the road going back to the Harley conservation land, so that people can actually go back there. Let's see. And I think we should add some gravel to the Cowdrey parking lot, existing Cowdrey parking lots. You go and you're parking them anytime after it's rained, it's all muddy and puddly. Clark's Hill, I'm suggesting that we should enlarge the parking spot at Clark's Hill. It's kind of small, and you don't feel especially safe parking there. The lane in the large town forest, right now, there's a spot where there's two existing culverts. One of them's clay, and the other is corrugated metal. They're both, one's only about 8 inches in diameter, and the other's less than a foot in diameter, and they both clog up. And as a consequence, the water washes over the road and washes out the road. So at some point, I'd like to see us put the culverts, replace those culverts under there. And small town forest, we've talked about this in the past, create a return loop trail along the west side of small town forest. Harris Conservation Area, that's something that's not really even in our radar. It's down between Reservoir Road and Goodrich Road. There are some existing trails there. And at some point in the future, I'd like to see us take and develop a loop trail in there. Put a parking area either on Goodrich or Reservoir Road or both. And put up kiosks. If we do put up parking, I think we should add a kiosk to the Hawes Conservation Land. Right now, the kiosk that's there is the pollinator habitats kiosk. And it's full of pollinator habitat stuff. And it really was put up by them, using their, I think we need a separate kiosk there, but we'd have to discuss that. And the Reno, hopefully, by a year from now, we will have completed a logging project there. And they will have left behind a cleared landing zone by Northfield, and we can turn that into a parking lot. Maybe put up a kiosk there. And so this is a draft. I would put this on the agenda at some point in the future. Does anybody have, but the reason I did this is because I was trying to show the snow riders, these are some of our future projects that you could help with, and that so that they might want to take and include some of these in their grant application, as something that they could do, as in-kind contributions. Does anybody have any comment or suggestions or concerns about this?
Mr. Chairman, good work.
Okay, I'm proposing to write a letter to the Board of Selectmen. As you may or may not know, there is a possibility that sometime in the next year, we may need to, that the town may need to take and hire a conservation agent. And I don't know if you're aware, the town just hired a new recreation director with zero input or even knowledge of the process from the Recreation Commission. I'd like to write a letter I'd like to draft a letter to the Board of Selectmen. I suppose I could draft it between now and the next meeting so people could actually read what we're gonna say, that says, that the Conservation Commission believes that, and I've discussed this matter, by the way, with the town manager. And the town manager's position was, the town charter gives me the ability, gives me the authority to appoint, that's my job. It's not, anybody else's job but mine. I'd like to write a letter to the town manager and the full Board of Selectmen saying something to the effect that Conservation Commission believes that it would be appropriate for us to at least have a representative on the interview committee. While we understand that it's, the town manager's decision, we'd like to participate in the process, and we think that's appropriate and should be practice, if not policy.
Excuse me, Bob.
Go ahead.
Just to remind the members, when I was retained, 5+ years ago to occupy my current position, Carrie Spadell was the appointing authority, just like Heather is saying she is now. However, she took the tact of assembling members of the commission herself. So they did an initial screening of applicants, then narrowed it down, and then narrowed it down to herself and a couple of other commissioners to interview just the final couple. Yeah, I'm just suggesting that you may want to take that tact with Heather, noting the precedent. I mean, it's Heather's call on that, but I can see where you're going with it. The other thing I wanted to note in conversations I've been having about the position with Adam Burney, and as you guys know, this is a pretty busy job. There are a lot of moving parts to it. And over the last 5 years, it's evolved even more. And it should be better tailor-made for the commission's needs. So Adam is putting in for this budget, advocating a second position, a staff person within the office for 19 hours a week to help with things like pumping out orders of conditions, minutes, more of the clerical work. Because of all the other specialty work we're doing, I felt and he felt that the administrator should have a little more free time to be able to help. Like Bob, your efforts for trails. I mean, with the amount of work I have to do solo, there's just no time on my schedule to be able to fit that in. But I think having the extra staff person would be of help. He doesn't know how it's going to go in the budget, but you know, I wanted to let you guys know that because maybe you might want to start turning some advocacy on that one. He agrees that he feels it's necessary, but it's a town decision. So he's recommending it. He added it to the budget that we just submitted. So just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. Are there any other comments about this proposed draft letter to the selectmen?
Don't do that.
Mr. Chair, I think that's well worded. The way you set up the outline. I do know and will confirm, as Matt said, when we went through and replaced, installed Matt as the administrator. It was a member of the commission, Adam Burney as the land use director, and Carrie as the town manager that were involved in the hiring process. I've also been involved in, I think, 3 others that we've hired. And they were all at that point, the commission was very intimately involved in it, as we do have to deal with the administrator on all the day-to-day operations of the office and of the commission. So I would leave it to you to put it as diplomatically as possible.
Thank you, Richard.
Express our concerns that we be involved in the process.
Richard, I may well reach out to you for your extensive knowledge of past practice on this.
Okey doke.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like permission from the commission to take and approach the town manager about putting an ad in the Lunenburg Ledger about looking for soliciting adjunct members to the Conservation Commission. We haven't, we've had adjunct members of the commission in the past, and I just would like to cast a wide net and see who out there is interested in being a adjunct member of the Conservation Commission. What are the comments or questions or concerns about that proposal?
Mr.
Jack Rabbit.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Hey, great idea. The questions will come, what do they do? And what is their roles? And I know we have all have a general idea of it. Will Matt give him a hat? I hope so. But perhaps a set of definitions as to what you believe the roles should be.
And the vest too, Jack. Don't forget the vest.
Yes, we won't forget those vests.
Jack, they got a hat.
I still don't have those.
You don't have the vest.
I think if you ask Mike, I took and I gave Mike a definition of what the adjunct member's role was. Did you get a vest, Mike?
I got a vest.
You did get a vest. Okay.
Well, I think I got a vest. I got a vest because isn't that part of the site walk? Isn't that?
Whoa!
I can tell you when I became an adjunct member, I got a
Katie,
hat.
I have a vest I'll give you.
Okay, thanks.
What about Patty hat?
I was
I
gonna
got
say,
a
I don't
vest.
have a vest.
Patty, before my retirement kicks in, I will get you both vests and hats.
Hey, all our hats are getting worn out too,
So
Bob.
Jack.
Yeah, okay.
They attend meetings at and they can participate in discussion, but not in votes.
Right.
And that's it. And they're there to learn, and that's it, the long and the short of it. Any other business to come before tonight? There any? Nick, who's Nick? Nick must be
Yeah.
Nick Eaton.
Yes.
Go ahead, Nick.
So I'm just trying to clear everything up with you guys. I just want to first say that I guess I'm sorry for not believing you guys. I mean, I hired this guy to build my house. He told me, he gave me a set of plans. Obviously, something went wrong on his end. I'm letting you guys know I'm going to do everything I can to fix it. In the meantime, though, I believe Casey and I believe Matt was on the email, had sent him an email like probably a month ago to support that roof for the time being.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to get snow, when we're going to get it, if it's going to fall, but can we still at least support that?
You were given permission to support that.
Well, it was him that was given permission. I don't know.
No, we gave it to, he might have been the voice at the meeting, but the permission goes to the unit, goes to the homeowner.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I could actually do something, or obviously hire someone to do something, even though he's not my contractor anymore. I'm just letting you know.
We picked up on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, Nick. Anything else, Nick?
No, that's it. Thank you.
No, I'm. Any other comments or questions from members of the commission? I would note that it's 9:42. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Rich Bursch,
Aye.
Jeff Viviano.
Aye.
See, Jeff, you can more than hope. Patty Adams,
2
Aye.
o'clock, right?
Katie Childs,
Aye.
Mike LaRouche,
Aye.
Jack Rabbit,
Aye.
and I for myself. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Happy New night, Year.
Everybody.
Thank you.
Night, Bob.
Good night.
Night, Steve Marsden. Night, Rich. Night, John Boy.
Night, Matt.
Good night, Matt.
Good night, Jack. Good night, Mike.
Good
All we
night,
need,
Rich.
all we need is Alice in the center and we're good. Hey, Bob,
Yes, sir.
before you sign off, I can't resist. And I don't care if it's being recorded, people can just go bump, but I have to tell you the ultimate dad joke.
Wait. I'm gonna stop the recording.
So